You guys are doing something very cool with the USAA and the Army Navy game. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Partner with USAA. They're celebrating their 100th year, and with that, they're going to give away 100 vehicles throughout the year to veterans of our armed forces. And so I'm partnered with Brian Dawkins, who's a great rivalry and kind of conjunction with this Army Navy game. And we're going to go up there this weekend and through the Recycled Rides program at USAA, we're going to give away a vehicle. So I'm representing the Navy, he's representing Army, and to be able to give this honor to these guys who are Purple Heart winners, veterans of our country and war, and it's going to be really neat. So it's a great game. Awesome to be a partner of USAA's on this as they're celebrating their 123rd game and being the sponsor of this. Kind of a bucket list game for me, to be a part of it. And so it's really what the camaraderie and sportsmanship of football is all about. I just have so much admiration for these athletes who are going to play a game, but more importantly, are protecting our freedom in the years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a personal connection to the Army Navy game? I know you said this is a bucket list game or, opportunity for you, but, familial stuff is, when you grew up watching Army Navy, did you support one side or the other typically, or?
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that I'm representing the Navy. My best friend from grade school growing up, he went to the academy there. And so he's kind of brainwashed me into thinking, it's Naval Academy, Annapolis over everything. And, I love the way they play football. It's a different style, but certainly what those kids carry on their schedule day to day, and then to go out there and compete and play big time schools. Navy just beat a top 25 team a couple weeks ago. And so it's good football. And so I find myself pulling for the academy in general, but certainly Navy.
Gotcha. Well, you mentioned Brian Dawkins. I mean, like you said, a legend, just kind of on the wrong side of the NFC East, right? Do you have a favorite memory or anything that comes to mind when you think about when you used to be going up against Dawkins?
Yeah, well, first off, I got a lot of bumps and bruises and even scars from Brian Dawkins. He tackled me one time and separated my AC joint, and so I had surgery. I call it the Brian Dawkins surgery, and so if you didn't play against him, you don't know. But if you did, everybody knows the way he played. And great football player, great safety, but great person too. And so there were some great rivalries over the years. He was a passionate guy. I was young in my career when I first saw him kind of coming up, and kind of always admired his leadership abilities, beloved in Philly. So, I'm just hoping I go up there and those Philly fans don't try to fight me or throw snowballs at me. And so they're pretty ruthless, but I don't think this game will be that way. Got a lot of respect for Brian in our time competing against each other.
Awesome. Well, kind of, segueing more into the modern NFL stuff, right now it just seems like there's a great group of premier tight ends in the NFL, in terms of the guys, whether it's Kelsey or Kittle or Dalton Schultz, who are, kind of current NFL tight ends that you admire, or do you think kind of maybe represent your game? Anybody that come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of them. I'm just a great fan of the tight end position. I think back 20 years ago when I was coming into the NFL, whatever that was, 19 years ago, there was two or three. There was Shannon Sharp, there was Tony Gonzalez, Todd Heap, Jeremy Shockey. But now you're seeing it week in and week out. It seems like the tight end's the matchup. I mean, Dalton Schultz I played with. I hope that I was able to teach him a few things along the way. What he's done over the last 2 years is pretty remarkable. He's been kind of a safety blanket for Dak Prescott, made a lot of big plays. Mark Andrews, what he's doing at Baltimore, and that kind of style of offense, seems like he's that weapon for Lamar Jackson. But, I mean, same with George Kittle. I mean, he does it all, right? I mean, he's blocking the tight end position. He's catching the balls down the seam. Probably a complete tight end in all three phases is run blocking, pass blocking, and then as a receiver. But, I mean, it's hard to go against Travis Kelce. I mean, just what a weapon he is, how long he's done it, kind of how he sustained it. He's got a great chemistry with the quarterback and Mahomes, and Andy Reid puts him all over the field. And the one thing that I don't think a lot of people are talking about is he lost his number one receiver in Tyreek Hill. It was a game changer. And doesn't look like he's missed a beat. And I can tell you, I benefited from having Terrell Owens and Terry Glenn and Des Bryant, and on and on and on, Miles Austin on the outside. And to lose a weapon like that, you're going to draw a lot more attention. And Kelsey just seems like he just keeps on going, playing at a high level. It's awesome to see.
No, there's no doubt about that. And, also, we kind of talk about the Cowboys and Ferguson. We talk about Dak. The offense is really starting to turn it on right now. Do the Cowboys? They have a chance to run down the Eagles, but it's going to be tough. What are your thoughts on the division race the rest of this year?
Well, I think it's tight. Kind of like it always is. I think two of the best teams in the league are in the same division. Right? I think the records show that, and certainly their play shows that. So. Obviously you want to win the division, but I don't think that's a deal breaker, with 5 games to go. I think Cowboys are 2 games back or so. I think they're both playing really good football. Dallas seems like they're hitting the right stride at the right time when they're getting healthy. Zeke's getting back. Dak's playing at a high level. They're scoring a lot of points. And then their defense is really good. So I don't really see a weakness on Dallas's football team that you say, man, if they got to play against this in the playoffs, they're going to really struggle, and you probably can say the same thing for Philly, and the way Jalen Hurts is playing probably surprised a lot of people, but very efficient, big playability. They can run it. They can throw it. They play good defense. So I think both of those teams are 2 of the best in the NFC and really the entire league.
No, I agree. Obviously right now, the Odell free agency saga is the number one story in Cowboys world. You obviously, towards the end of your career saw Odell, played against him several times. What's your thinking there? Do you think he's the kind of players that can really take the Cowboys to the next level, or is this kind of maybe dragging on too long?
Well, first thing I'd say is it's kind of unique seeing how this is all playing out, right? I don't know that we've ever seen kind of this open recruitment in the middle of the season take place like that. I don't know. I think it's pretty neat to kind of watch it all unfold. Certainly Odell is a playmaker, right? I think you add him to the mix. It seems like Dallas has been very welcoming to potentially of adding him to their football team. And I think even though they're playing at an extremely high level, they find themselves in a unique spot with Odell and it's almost icing on the cake for their football team of what he can bring. And I think what is he when he's healthy is he's a game changer. He can take a quick throw underneath, a slant, a hitch, and he can go the distance. He's obviously got great catch radius. So Dak will probably have a lot of confidence just kind of throwing it up, trusting him. I think it's just probably going to happen here sooner than later, wherever he lands, so that he can get accustomed to the offense, get healthy, push himself so that he can help a team down the stretch in the playoffs.
For sure. And, another major talking point right now is, it's a burden of riches, right, for the Cowboys when you've got Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. With the way that they're both playing, it's really dynamic. But I will say, the Cowboys are kind of running into an issue this offseason with Zeke's contract, and Pollard's going to be a free agent. If you were in Jerry's seat, or if you were, in the Cowboys front office, how would you navigate that? Would you just say, let's pay them both? Would you say we kind of have to pick one? What would your thinking be?
Well, first thing I would say is this is a good problem to be in. You got 2 really good players. Zeke's proven it over a long period of time. Tony's just playing. How well is he playing right now? Just seems like every time he touches the ball, good things happen. So, look, I think they don't have to be mutually exclusive from one another, right? Okay, they play the same position, but they kind of have different styles in which they do that, And so Jerry's done it a long time. He's been really good at it, he and Steven. And so I think they see the value of it. I think the next question is can the coordinator handle that of finding ways to get them both in there, making sure they're both impacting the game? And I think Kellen's done that with both of them when they're both healthy, when one's been down. So they kind of have that 1-2 punch that they're finding ways to get them in there. Tony's playing some with Zeke out there on the field. He can move in the slot. And so I think you try to keep it, right? And I know the natural thing to say for a fan is, okay, Zeke's kind of on the way out and let's sign this young Tony coming in. But, man, I know Zeke can still play the game at a high level. And so I'd love to see those 2, that 1-2 combo continue on for the years to come.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not exactly sure on our time limit, but I do have another question if you've got a second, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, another deal is you got to show some respect to Mike McCarthy. You know, adversity last year, not exactly the dream start, and then this year with Dak going down, and then the Cowboys still kind of peel out those wins, still kind of battle through the adversity. Would you say that this season is a surprise at all, knowing Mike the way you do, or what are your thoughts on how the season has gone?
Well, I'm really pleased with it. I think everybody in kind of Cowboys Nation, both internally and externally out there, are really pleased with it. I mean, anytime you lose a quarterback of Dak's caliber early in the season, and you have to make that transition, and you really don't know what the timetable is going to be. Is it 4 weeks? Is it 6 weeks? And to get that type of production from the backup quarterback, I mean, certainly Cooper deserves a lot of that credit. Kellen put him in a good spot, all the other supporting cast. But as a head coach, understanding what that winning formula looks like, if this isn't the best defense the Cowboys have had in the last 25 years, it'd be a surprise to me, playing on a lot of those teams. So, building the supporting cast around you is a big responsibility for the head coach. So I think Mike's done a phenomenal job from that standpoint of managing that, not putting too much on Cooper, and finding ways to win games that people probably didn't think you could win. And, we're probably having a different conversation right now if they're sitting here at 6-5 or, 7-6 as they enter the final stretch. Instead, they're 8-3. And a big part of that is early in the season, how that he was able to manage that as a coach, the coaching staff. And now they're healthy and everything's streamlining, but we forget about that. That was a big part of the season. So I think Mike's done a great job with the football team.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jason. This was a absolute pleasure, and thank you for all the work that you're doing with USAA for Army Navy as well. That's should be a great weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks a lot.